Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another community power session. I shall take you through the. Sorry, where was I? I've lost my chain of thought. Okay, so I was talking about we were to create an investment tracker application, and we shall persist this data by the use of Supabase in our backend. So the first step we shall take is to create a simple application. So before the event, I took the liberty of scaffolding an application with Vite because I established that this is the fastest way to do that. And you just run the Vite command and everything is set up. So maybe in the terminal I can, if I can demonstrate. It's very easy to start with Vite. To just type npm init and then Vite latest, and then it would prompt you on. It will give you prompts on how to start your project. So we have project name. After selecting the project name, it will guide you through whether you want to use either React or Vue, but in our case we shall use React. So I already did that. If you want more on Vite, you can look up the official documentation. Sorry. Vite.js. They have a cool documentation which will guide you through everything you need to get started with Vite. Yeah, so here's the landing page, and it shall be set up correctly. Okay, we shall start from the official docs, from the official Supabase docs. I already started everything. I already persisted a database, but in case you want to start a new project, you can create a new project. That's after you have an account with them, which will run you through a GitHub authorization. So after you have authorized with the GitHub, the login flow, you start a new project. So you can start a new project. I can choose to do it with a new organization, or I can use my existing organizations. So since this is a demo, we shall start a new. Oh, sorry. I think my rate has been reached. So you just start a new project, and then you don't have to. There'll be a default organization. You just choose an organization to start with, and then you can go through the prompts. So for me, I've already created one for this particular project, and yes, here is everything about the project. So on our application, on our React application, we'll have to install the official CLI, the official command line interface for the application. So it's npm install at Supabase stroke Supabase JS. Just a minute as I confirm the documentation. They have an official SDK for JavaScript API reference. Let's go to overview, introduction. I'm looking for. No. Where was that? Okay. So on your organization's homepage, yeah, we have the JavaScript documentation. So you will use this command, npm install this command, to install the official package for the application. So coming back to our, I think I was correct. I don't know if I'm on the correct. Yeah. So we shall just install. What? Oh, sorry. Sudo. Not sudo. I think I should run ch. Ch. Should run ch. Why is it refusing? The root. Okay. Should have owned this repository. Let's just ch on. It's just sorry, just a minute. Ch on okay. Recursive. So this is a small bug that is related to Windows subsystem for Linux in terms of permission. So should write chown and then the recursive function and then the username and then the folder you want to own. Sorry about that. Operation. Oh, sudo. Sorry. chown. Sorry. It's a bit buggy. Let me just stop sharing for a bit and then just do it offline. Okay, you can come back. Sorry. Okay, after I've already owned, now I think npm, I think everything should work now correctly. Yes, everything should work correctly. It's called live debugging. So after we have installed the Supabase package, we can now start using it in our project. So I usually create a folder with all the like helper functions called utilities, so you just name it utils. So inside utils we can create a client.js. Actually everything I'm doing is inside the documentation. We can go through it step by step. So where was it? Okay, here. So after you've installed, you then initialize it. So inside the client.js file, we can initialize it with by importing it. So we can import the client inside there. And sorry. And then we can, okay, after importing the client, we can connect to the application. Okay, we can create the client here with this line. So we need to have two things here. We need to have the public key. We need to have the sorry, why is it crying for help? So I think we should export this. Sorry, export Supabase. So here we need two variables. We need the URL. Let me just put them here. URL is equals to, so since we are working with the secrets, we must put them in inside environment variables. So here we shall process dot environment dot env dot what's going on here? If I can type react app Supabase URL and then we need a we need a key. We need a key. Key equals to, let's just copy this and then name it key. 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 So we don't have environment variables right now, so we just create it in the root folder. .env. So inside our environment we shall let me just copy these two. Let me just copy these two. Let me just copy. So where you find your keys, where you will find your keys inside your dashboard, just go to your project and then inside your API no, sorry, not API, inside key, inside your keys, and then you go to your API. So here is where we have the keys, so I just copy them. First copy the URL. Of course, like every presenter says, after the presentation everything will be deleted. So yes, even here after the presentation everything will be deleted. Then the key, then the key. Yes, I think they should be inside some, oh, sorry, can't type today. Yes. I think, not sure. Just think. So yes, so here we shall enter the Supabase URL and the Supabase key. Supabase URL and the Supabase key. Supabase key. Yes. So I think everything should be okay right now. So after we've done that, we should, inside our app directory, since I see everything has been imported, we can since, okay, I see we have all the Vite the Vite application has already imported use state, so we can also add a use effect which we'll use later, on. Okay, so after we've done that, we can also import the client from the Supabase client. Since we exported it to be used on our application, we can also what can we do? Since it's exported from the client.js file, we can import it into our application. Import from .stroke utils client. So it's Supabase. Yes. So that's done. So next we can implement our state. So so since this is an investment tracker, we can use the investment as one of our setter in this use state. There's the setter and the getter, so we shall use the investment as the setter and the getter combination. Sorry if I'm not making sense. React hooks. Yes, we have the use state inside the docs. The docs are a very good place to get started with use state and use effect. Okay, so back to the presentation. We shall set investments, then set invest, which shall be an empty array state. empty array, since we will be getting the data from the database. Investments, yes. Use date. Use date there. I used to have shortcuts here. Use date. Investment. This is going to return a single investment row from our database. So which will be an object asset then the amount. So someone might ask, where am I getting the values asset and amount? So inside our database, as I was setting up the project, I set up two tables. We have an asset. Okay, I set up an investment table. So when you go to our database, we have our investments table. So inside this investment table, we have assets and we have amount. We have asset name and the amount, and we set the asset to text, since it's the title of this column. Sorry. And then I set the amount as text because there wasn't, after from doing research, the best option would be a number value, but there's no number here. So for the sake of tests, for the sake of this presentation, we shall just use text, but it's not advised, especially since we are doing a fintech application. This is a fintech application. It's an MVP of a fintech application. Yes, so yes, that's where I'm getting my values from. And then, since we don't want to be writing about we don't want to be writing all the time. Okay, since we don't want to repeat ourselves all the time, which I'm actually doing right now, we can do const and then we shall set to an investment, since we don't want to repeat ourselves. Okay, so far so good. Don't know why I like doing this. Sorry. So the good thing about Supabase is that we can actually use the documentation to API. We can use, once you've created your tables, and once you've created a database and your tables, there is a list here you can use to access your data. So like, you can read the rows, you can filter them, you can insert new rows, you can update the rows, you can delete rows, and you can also subscribe to changes. So we already, out of the box, we already have code to interact with our database here. Yeah, so our first item will be the read all rows here. So we can just, so first of all, we can just create a function. you can create a function to read all the to go through our data and display all the information that is in our database. So we shall do, let me say, fetch investments, which will return all the investments we have in our database. So after we have done that, we can copy here everything in the read. Can read everything. So I think this should be a const, sorry. From our investments table, and then we select everything, and then we shall set the investments to reflect the new data that has been returned from our database. Let me just, yes, I don't think we have this indented properly, so let me just do that. Okay, awesome. So since we want this to be run every time the application is started, we can now introduce our use effect. So use effect. So just don't need the cleanup function. So just write, you can do the fetch investments. Function, then we shall return this brackets. For anyone new to use effect is I'm forgetting the name, sorry. Let's just go to the documentation. Where's the use effect hook? Using the use effect hook, called something, I'm forgetting it. Yeah, but we can always check it after the presentation. Sorry, I'm forgetting the name right now, but it will come. Okay, so after we have done our use effect here, which will run when the application is loaded, we shall run this function. Since we've put it inside our use effect, we shall run this function inside our inside our use effect. I don't know if I don't think I'm making sense, sorry. So after we have fetched all our investments, we shall add another function to we shall create another function to add a new investment to our into our database, sorry. So sync function, sorry, sync function, add investment, sorry, invest. Yeah, so since we have fetched the investments, we can go and use our documentation, our handy documentation to insert. I think it's the insert. so we shall take this one, this command, and then we shall go back to our code, and then we shall paste it. And then we shall paste it inside here. So for this line I shall just add a asset and then amount, which are the two, like, which are the two variables we shall add to our database, since we define them up here, the asset and the amount. So let me just delete this one. Okay, asset and the amount. So instead of repeating ourselves, we can just await the Supabase instant. Then we can indent our code. Awesome. And then to add our investments to the table, we can set investment. Since it's just a single investment, we want to add to our table, which is an array with an asset, and the amount. Yes. And then we also want to update the UI with our added investments. So we shall use we shall run this function again to display them on our UI. So after we have already added our particular asset and amount, we shall fetch every other asset and amount that has been forwarded to our application. Okay, so inside our, okay, so it's done for now. I don't know if you will be getting any errors. Are we still running? Okay. Yeah, I think we're still running. Why is my header not rendering? Investments. Okay, so inside our application, I don't know why it's not rendering. Maybe if I start npm run dev. Why is it not rendering the H1? So inside our application, we can let me just see if it will input. Is it not rendering? see the error. Infrastructure application. Can anyone in the chat see the error? Can't seem to find it. My div is not rendering this h1 and I can't seem to find the error. Can anyone assist me in finding the error?
Rama, you're saying what's going on?
I'm not seeing this h1 on the... I'm not seeing it here, so I don't know what's going on. And it's... Yes?
Look, have you returned it? Like the content
Yes.
in it?
Yes. I can see it down here.
Okay.
It's being returned.
Well, no. Okay, go back to the input. We check it.
No. I want to like this h1 tag. I want to render this h1 tag first before I can do the input. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
My recommendation is
Yes.
comment out everything to do with Supabase first. Then rerun the application. Let's see if it's working first of all, so that we try to ascertain, because without the Supabase code it was working. So comment it out first.
Okay. Let me just comment everything out here. Then maybe save. Then still nothing.
Step number 2, stop the Vite application, then restart it again.
Yes, absolutely.
Control C, then start it again.
npm run dev. Yep. Can see here live. Nothing.
Have you stopped it?
Yes. Stopped and restarted.
Kilo node or something like that. I use that most a lot of many times. So that is not even correct either.
Okay, so here I don't know what's going on here.
These things happen, man.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Now go back. Save it. Now go back again. It's not saved. Go back to your local host and...
Nope. But it was rendering some time back.
It's still not working.
Yes.
It's still not working.
Yes.
Let's go back to the code and see what might be the issue.
We are in the app.js here.
Which browser are you using?
It's forgetting the name. Brave. I'm using Brave.
Sometimes back I was trying with Troll, it was rejecting localhost. I don't know why. Probably, I'm not sure if that one might be the problem. But...
So I think Reggae has.
What does main.jsx do?
Yes.
Look at main.jsx. Let's open it up.
I think
so. You're rendering up correctly.
Yes.
Can you change the component up and try and render direct h1 from there?
From here.
From the main.jsx. Yeah. Try and render it from the main.jsx so that we try and debug it
from here.
Yeah, just add instead of the up, now add a h1.
Okay, h1.
because if that now doesn't render, that means you have to restart the whole application or something like that, I guess.
It is not working.
Check your console, check your network, and see your responses.
Everything is.
Shift I.
They are trying to stop reggae.
What I usually do for errors, I don't know if this is good practice either. Shift I go to network, I go to you look at whatever is being rendered. It's supposed to either give you a status codes there, or you see what's going on.
So I think
probably in most cases that happens. Shift I, you got a developer called developer tool, it's in there. Exactly.
Yep.
Go to network.
Process. Process. Yes. I've seen. Maybe it's yes. I've seen the issue. We have not what I think. Environment.env is not installed in this application. npm install. Sorry. npm install .env. env was not installed. And then I think also inside our env there should be if that also fixes the problem. Not yet. So let me just stop this and restart it again. pm ramdev. Not yet. Sorry. Let's just do this one more time.
You've npm I.env.
Yes. Like I've seen that's the issue. So I think I've installed this correctly.
Alternatively, Rama, I'd recommend, since this is just a simple project, do away with the env, even though it's good practice, and just copy the keys directly and delete the env file.
Okay, I think I'll just do that. I think I'll just do that.
It's good practice to do that, but for the time being, I think for purposes of you'll change your keys.
Yes. Absolutely. Let me just import them directly. See, the environment value have failed me. Should be good right now. At least that's what I thought. Process is not defined. Process is not defined.
Let me bug in.
Yes.
See, hapo kwa Supabase URL, you just put the keys as strings. That means in quotes or something like that.
Yes.
Now instead of it's still okay. This is also good
I
practice.
think this is how it should be.
Delete the .env file.
Okay.
Go with it.
Let me just restart. Yep. Still not rendering. I think we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. So I think we can continue the project. I think we can continue. So once we've reached this part,
it's working now.
Yeah, it's working. So I can put the input. I think it was the env stuff. Let me just save and see if it's rendering up the DOM. Yeah, we have our input here. So inside our input, we shall have a placeholder. We shall have some placeholder text with a placeholder information. This is the asset name. And then we shall have our value. Our value will be set to the asset value. Asset. And then on change. On change we can have the event. Then we can set the investment. Set investment to be. So we should first destructure it. Should be the already existing investment in our table row, and then the asset being added, which will be the value we type into this field, e dot target dot value. Yes. And then we shall have another input which will be the amount. Then it should also be the amount. Yes. Sorry. Then we shall have a button. A button which will have an event listener and click. Which will be our add investment. Should be add investment to investments. Add investment. Since it's just one investment we are adding. Add investment. Is it rendering? Is the main question. think we have some very serious styling issues. So don't know if we should wrap this inside a div. No, I think we can. Let's just go to the styles a bit. How should we justify this? Is that flex for column? Justify content. I think it's align. I think it's align items. Or it's flex direction. I think it's flex direction. Flex direction. Flex direction column. Let's see if that is the remedy for our alignment issues. Is it? Yeah, it is. So next I think we can display our investments inside the, we can display them in the UI. So here, just below here, just doing the absolute minimum. So here we have our investments. That map. Then the investment. We can return a div. Wow, it's not working. Can return a div. Then inside this div we can have a heading, h3, then we can have a p with our investment amount. Investment dot asset, then investment dot amount, and they should be inside curly braces. Amount, sorry, yes. So I think it's time for the live application. Let's see if it works. The asset is Safaricom shares. Let's say Safaricom, and then the amount is, let's say we invested 10,000. Did it work? Did it work? There's also the key prop issue with React. So inside React, since it's a key value chain, we should add a key here, which would be the investment ID. ID. Then back to application. I was seeing some errors in the console here. controlled and uncontrolled components. Let's go to our database and see if there's anything. Is there anything happening in our database? Yeah, we are getting Safaricom shares added to our database, but it's not reflecting in the UI, so I think it's just something to do with this line here. Investments H3. So I'm forgetting my React. Anyone in the chat who wants to assist me in exposing this data in the UI? Let's write which other company? Let's say Kakuzi. Kakuzi, we have invested some 50,000. So we have our investments being reflected in our database, but they are not showing up in the UI. Yes.
I want to ask a very stupid question. Tabu angalia components. You have your React developer tools.
No, I've not installed it in this one.
But I did.
Yes.
Okay. I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at it tuone wenye tunasaidia.
Nataka irenda kwa UI. Hii ni sasa interview question sasa.
Change the investments.map equal investment.map because I see it's like you're passing them as investment. I'm not so sure about that. Check.
This one.
Where you're mapping the div here. We just look at investments. Do you have investments? So you're spreading the investment as the asset.
This is the whole array, and then this is just one asset.
Do console.assert on click. You map. You assert the whole thing that is being pushed to the DB.
Which line here?
To add a console.assert.
Which line?
On
This
click.
line.
Ju. On Ju. Scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere there. That is how they Supabase investments, set investments, asset amount. What are you setting? Asset amount.
I'm thinking of something, huh?
Yes.
On the point of investment there down, what if you write investments and? If the data is in investment, then render the component to map.
Yeah.
Actually, that is just it.
Invest. Still nothing. Still nothing. Still nothing. Let me just try another one.
It's still not rendered?
No, they're not showing up.
Oh, quick question. How are you fetching that data from wherever because I see you're just pushing to the table. How are you fetching them?
So on this function, on the add investment function, after inserting them into the database, I then run this fetch investments, this one again, to like return them.
So it's supposed to fetch everything.
Yes, so it's supposed to since the database right now has 2 items, it's supposed to fetch these 2 assets that I've already added to the table.
Okay, give me potea sometimes. I'm saying here you've destructured it as data. Is that true?
Here, yes.
Just check console data, log your data, and see the data that is supposed to be shown
on this line.
Okay, push chini kabisa. Synchro, whatever it's called, the synchronous or whatever. You push chini asset investments as data. Finya alt na the down arrow mara tatu.
Ishakuwa. So itakuwaje? Sorry.
Now let's see the console.
It's returning an array with Safaricom and 10,000. It's returning them.
So ideally, try and map data instead of investments.
Okay. Yes, actually. Is it? Data.map. Sorry. Will this work? There's an error. It's not defined.
Is data defined?
It's not defined, sorry. Let me just go back. Because investment is defined here.
So, okay, I have a crazy thought also.
Yes.
Unaona hapo you were saying data.map investment.
Yes.
Then the dot your eka nini question mark.
Hapa.
Yeah.
The optional chaining. So I think tunaweza toa hii the first part.
Yeah, toa the first part, then we check with the other one.
Yo. Still not working.
If it's not working, try and log the value of investments. Make sure it's defined. Because if data is fetching correctly and it's supposed to be changing the state of investments, so log the value of investment so that we see if that is happening correctly.
From this part, let me just.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's returning them.
Showing something.
Yes.
The values as you had mentioned.
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
So then that means we just have a slight issue somewhere. Let's go back to the code. That would have been a very big bug in giving me data instead of the used state.
Yes.
It's called JavaScript many ways.
Hii tungetumia TypeScript tungeshamaliza hii kazi kitambo sana.
Yeah. TypeScript is.
Let's go to the code and let's review. Investment. So you've console logged the value of investments the way it is correctly.
Yes.
Click ekelea cursor juu and see the values that are expected there on the word investment hapo, the first one. I usually tend to do that. So any as an array is correct. Nafeel kusema sometimes it also doesn't work for me, so I inexplicably just end up using the word return even though it's not there. I can choose to omit it. Yeah, just add the word return in between there. So it's supposed to return this specifically.
Which line?
So instead of the investments.map invest, then after the arrow function, instead of the curly brace, instead of the whatever of that bracket, you use the curly brace, then you use return, then return.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just try it right now.
Zingine huwa inakataa pia, inanipea stress wiki mzima. So they include the word return.
Kiasi kidogo tu.
It should work.
It's called the bracket hell.
The brackets.
Bado.
It's correct now.
Still not showing.
Check.
Hey.
Still not showing.
Yes, on the UI.
Stop the application and rerun it again. Let's see.
And then maybe I can add an asset. It's just maybe I can add stock gani Kenya.
Stupid thing that I want to recommend. Add a coloring to the div. We pick color red.
Yes, ndio tuone kama ina appear. Let's just put 20,000. Yeah. is the code for inline CSS?
Sijui but jaribu inataka kufanya
Nice how. See you.
Okay, fanya hivi, patia class red full stop to, then you just add the styling on CSS. Class red.
Sorry.
Then you add the styling on CSS. Class red, then you do the styling. Cool. So the thread. Andika border. I wanted you to probably do the border.
Oh, border.
Yeah.
2px.
1px solid red.
Red.
If you're entering and you don't.
Iko. I see it here.
Mbona ime highlight hivyo nini? Or ime highlight?
I think so, since ni tatu ndo zinakuja, since we have right now, as at now we have 3 assets.
Okay, okay, fine. Let's go back to the code. I think I'm seeing where the issue might be.
You see, since we have since you have 3 assets, if you zoom in, I can see like it's like they aligned 3 of them. It's like
dots, yeah.
Wow, debugging.
Rudi kwa code.
Debug.
It's fun sometimes it's stressful. Kama mimi nashinda kwa wiki hapo nikikataa na lala. I can't kill myself.
Maybe it's this H3.
Can you try and destructure the investment? So const hivyo then you just you let's rename all of them specifically. So asset.
I think I know what's going on. Yeah. I think I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I know what's going on.
That is actually my next.
I know what is going on. I know what's going on, and that's exactly what was going on. So.
See, that is fun.
So I think we have solved for today's session. Imekuwa engaging kidogo. Which other asset?
Yay!
Which other asset do you like investing in? We can add. Which other assets are fun investments?
Rusha hapo Cyton.
Cyton, yes. Cyton tunawapatia 100,000. Yes, so I think that's it for today. Kidogo styling ni mbaya, but we can focus on styling in our next session kama itakuwa. So yes. Kuna maswali? Are there any questions from the audience?
Oh, I had a question not related to this. I saw you were using an extension planning for GraphQL or something like that. Then it's gonna put your snippets.
It's called ES6. ES6.
For real? It does that. I think I can have
ES6.
Nipatia suggestions kama hizo.
ES6.
Thank you.
Where is it? There's that the famous one for React and stuff. ES6. Yes, so are there any questions from the audience?
You are there's on the part of the use effect you are to say something. Is it I don't know if it's called variable dependencies, I'm not sure, but
dependency array. Okay, yes, it's dependency array.
It's something of the sort.
Yes, I've remembered. Yeah. It's a dependency array.
I have never understood how to use that dependency array, I always leave it blank.
If you leave it blank, the page will keep on rendering, and it will be slow after some time. It will be slow after sometimes. There's something that is said about the dependency array. So it only renders when the UI mounts. It doesn't render all the time. So I don't know if I can do an example here. So when I remove
I'll do my research anyway.
when I remove it, and then let me just save and then go to the console, you'll see that the investments will.
It will give you an error. You've left umeacha comma hapo.
No, it keeps fetching. You see, it just keeps fetching every time. So by adding a dependency array, you just load it when the component mounts.
Makes sense. Thank you for that. I've learned something new today.
Yes. Yes, so I think on the next session I shall use it to style this application of mine before we can forward it to the to VCs for funding. Yes.
Sure thing. It already looks good. It's working.
It's working, so I think the next step is just styles.
Yeah, true.
Looks good.
Maybe focus mostly on functionality first before styling. Styling is secondary.
Yes. So thanks for attending, and I shall hand it over back to the host for today.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Rama, for taking us through the entire project and how to use Supabase. I was also new to it, so I got to learn a lot. We also got to debug a lot. Yeah. Does anyone have anything else to add?
It's been a really nice session. Fun.
Yeah. That being said, I think we'll end it here, unless there's anything else.